So there's another law you can use when you're finding sides or angles in a triangle that's not a right triangle, and that is law of cosines. And here's what law of cosines says. You have 3 different formulas to choose from, and we're going to choose these formulas based on the information that we are given. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a, and then so on and so on. Same thing as law of sines. The capital letters that represent our angles, lowercase letters are the sides, and then the angles and sides that match are always across from each other. Now, I'm going to give you a tip here. To know which formula to use, you're going to be looking right here. If you know angle A, or you're looking for angle A, you're going to use the first one that ends with cosine A. If you know angle B, or you're looking for angle B, you're going to use the second one that ends with cosine B. If you know angle C, or looking for angle C, you're going to use the third one that ends with cosine C. Okay, so let's look at a problem. So I'm looking at this right here. I'm trying to find AB. And I'm going, well, let me use the law of sines. Well, I could do sine of C, which is 41. So I could do sine of 41 over x. But I don't have another angle. So I can't use the law of sines here. It's not going to work. So I'm going to look at law of cosines. Well, I'm trying to find AB. I'm going to put an X there. I know angle C. So I'm going to use the formula right here that ends with cosine C. So let's go ahead and get values for A, B, and C. So lowercase a is across from angle A, so that's 29. Lowercase b is across from angle B, so that's 13. Lowercase c is across from angle C, that's our x that we're looking for. And then the measure of angle C that we're using, the capital C, is 41 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to write that formula. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of angle C. And you'll get, probably once you write this out a few times, you'll notice the pattern, and you'll get, so you can do it without even looking back. Alright, so now we're just going to plug in everything that we know. So in place of lowercase c, I'm plugging in x. In place of lowercase a, 29. Lowercase b, 13. Lowercase a again is 29. Lowercase b again is 13. And then times the cosine, and my angle C is 41 degrees. So this is actually really easy, because now all you have to do is just put that whole right side in your calculator and just put the parentheses where I have, or wherever appropriate. And so put that in your calculator, and when you type that all in there, you're going to end up with x squared equals 440.9. And then you know what to do next. To get rid of the squared, we square root, and since this is a length of a side, we're going to take the positive root, which comes out into 21. So the length of side AB there is 21 units. Okay, let's look at another one. So this is where you're finding a side length. Now let's look at finding an angle measure. This works a little bit different. So we're looking for the measure of angle A, a big X there. And, well, can I use the law of sines? Well, I don't know any angle measures, so no. For law of sines, I've got to have at least one angle measure. So we're going to use law of cosines. And so I'm looking for angle A. So I'm going to use the formula this time that ends with cosine A. So this one right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and write that down for you. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of angle A. So capital for angle. And then again, we're just going to go ahead and get our values of A, B, C, and we're using the measure of angle A. We're actually looking for that. Lowercase a is across from angle A, so it's 14. Lowercase b across from angle B is 9. C across from angle C is 6. And so we're just going to plug all this in. So for A, I'm plugging in 14. B, I'm plugging in 9. C, I'm plugging in 6. Times 9 times 6 times the cosine. And you can leave this A, or you can put X here, whatever you want to do. Okay, so this time I can't just plug everything into my calculator. I've got to solve for X. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through and simplify as much as possible. So 14 squared, 196. I'm going to go ahead and put these together here. 81 plus 36, you're going to get 117. Minus, when you multiply 2 times 9 times 6, you're going to get 108 times the cosine of X. So these two I went ahead and combined just right away. All right, now a lot of students next would do 117 minus 108. That's incorrect. Here's the problem with that. So I want you to kind of ignore these numbers. Let's say, I'm going to make up a different problem. Let's say I had 5 equals 2 minus 3x. Essentially, that's what we're looking at, because we have a number equals a number minus a number times a value we're looking for. Would you take 2 minus 3? No. So in your mind, you should be telling me or thinking about what you would do next. And you would subtract 2. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to subtract 117 first. Okay. So when you're finding an angle using law of cosine, you have to be really careful about the order of operations. And so we're going to subtract 117 from both sides. And then we can rewrite it. So we're going to have 79 equals negative 108 times the cosine of x. Okay, next algebraically, you should be thinking, okay, I divide by negative 108. And then we're going to, again, whenever we're finding angles, we're going to round to 4 decimal places. And so we're going to end up with negative 0.7315 equals the cosine of x. And now you know how to get rid of cosine. Inverse cosine. Cosine to the negative first. So in your calculator, second cosine, negative 0.7315. And we're going to get 137 degrees even. Oh, angle was that? It was angle A we were looking for. Okay. Okay, so these are a little bit harder when you're looking for an angle using law of cosines. But again, go back, follow my steps, and then do the same thing in your other problems. So let's try another one of those where we have to find the measure of an angle. And so find the measure of angle C. Put an X here. And so with my law of cosines, I would be using the one right here that has the C next to it. And so let's write that. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of angle C. So let's go ahead. A is going to be 29. B, I don't know, side B. Uh-oh. C, 24, and we're looking for the measure of angle C. So I have a problem here. I don't know this, and I don't know this. That means I'm going to have two unknowns in my equation. So, not going to work. What I have to do is go find this first. Then I can find the measure of angle C. So, I'm going to move this stuff over. Oh, I don't want that moving. I'm going to move this stuff over here for a minute. Okay, so let's go and let's find that side B, which is right here, across from capital B, the angle. And let's see, can I use a lot of signs to do this maybe? Well, I'd have sine of 101 over x, and then don't know any other angles, so not going to be able to do that. But I can use law of cosines, right? I know angle B, so I'm going to use the one that goes b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times the cosine of angle B. And so I'm going to plug, well, I can go ahead and write these out for you first if you need to still. And we're using the measure of angle B, which is 101. Okay, so side A across from angle A is 29, and B is the one we're looking for. And across from side C, or angle C, is side C, which is 24. Okay, so in place of B, I'm plugging in x. A is 29, C is 24. Put that in there again. Times the cosine of angle B, which is 101 degrees. Okay, so this is one of the easy ones. Yay! All we got to do is plug all that stuff on the right side into our calculator. And when you do that, you're going to get x squared equals 1,682.6. And then, you know, to get rid of the square, you're going to square root. And we're taking the positive root. Comes out to right about 41 even. And so, phew, now I know that this side is 41. And now I can go and fill that in over here. And now I can find the measure of angle C using law of cosines again. Whew. Okay, let me get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. So we're ignoring this stuff down here that we just used. We're going to go back and use this information up in our formula. So in place of C, 24. In place of A, 29. In place of B, 41. Minus 2 times 29 times 41 times the cosine of angle C, which is what we're looking for, so I'm going to put an X there. Phew, okay, now let's go through and do our arithmetic. Let's simplify what we can. So 24 squared, we've got 576 equals, this comes out to 841, 29 squared. 41 squared is 1681 minus, this, when you multiply 2 and 29 and 41, is 2,378 times the cosine of our angle that we're missing. I'm going to move this 41 out of the way for now, so we have room to do the rest of this. Okay, now we can combine these like terms first. So we can rewrite, we've got 576 equals 2,522 minus 2,378 times the cosine of x. Now remember, we don't want to combine the 522 minus the 2378 because that 2378 is attached to cosine x. So we want to subtract 2,522 first. Alright, we're going to get negative 1,946 equals negative 2,378 times the cosine of x. Alright. Then the next step, keep going using your algebra. We're going to divide by negative 2,378 to get cosine of x alone. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round this to 4 decimal places. And when you divide that, you're going to get positive 0.8183 equals the cosine of x. And to get rid of the cosine, we're going to, in our calculator, put second cosine and then type in the 0.8183. And that will give you a value for the measure of angle C to be 35.1 degrees. Final answer. Those get a little tough. So you're not going to see a whole lot of them, but a couple will pop up here and there. So sometimes if you don't have enough information, if you have 2 unknowns in your formula, you'll have to use a different law of cosine formula to find the missing piece you need to then go and find the other missing piece that you need. So you might want to go back and watch this one again. There's a lot of stuff up there, but you can also see me in class for help.